Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gebo the Shaman, and this is my channel, Gebo the Shaman. So today we're talking about emotions, and I haven't really figured out what I'm going to call this episode, but it's something to do with emotions, and how, I guess a good title would be how energy work affects, or yeah, something like that. So, how energy work affects emotions and stuff. So, basically, I wanted to come on and talk about what all energy work does and like emotions and how it affects that. So, first things first. So what we have to get a basic understanding of what emotions are, right? We need to learn what they are, what their spiritual properties and meanings are, right? So emotions are basically just energy. We have the 5 elements to describe our emotions. We have the fire, which is anger. We have ether, which is resentment. We have water, which is trust, and we have earth, which is sadness, and air, which is basically maturity and awareness. There's another word for it, but basically that's it. So we have the 5 elements. We have our emotions and our the myriad of our emotions. The myriad of our emotions don't really necessarily completely fit with the 5 elements because you could have like a mix of emotions. So I'm basically just using the 5 elements as an example of some emotions and basically the 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Well, the 5 elements are just manifestations of energy, just like our feelings. They're manifestations of energy. We have fire, which rises. We have water, which descends. We have ether, which expands, and we have metal or air, which contracts and cuts, and we have earth, which centers and balances, and it's earth element is great to work with. So okay guys, so so our emotions are just manifestations of energy. Somebody says something and it triggers us to feel a certain way. That's just energy moving in our body. That's just energy in our minds and in our body. Something I'll touch on is the word man, as in MAN, as in human. Man or mon is what they used to originally called it. That's where we get the word man, and that meant man. That meant like male and female. Mon was a word that meant just humanity in general, and so it also was taken from, or the word moon was taken from that, man and moon. So what is the moon? As I talk about in astrology all the time, the moon is our mind. It's not our intellectual mind. It's not our our intellect. It's our heart mind. It's our feelings. It's our emotions. It's our the way we process stuff with our feelings and our emotions and stuff like that. It's in the heart. So what does the moon have to do with? So the moon is basically, it's a watery sign. The moon always is in flux. It's always changing, just like our emotions. Our emotions are always changing. They're always, the moon will go from a new moon to a full moon, back to a new moon. It will cause the tides to rise and the tides to fall. All this, water is symbolic of emotion as well. So basically our emotions are energy in motion, basically. Well, yeah, I agree with that. It's a little bit of a simplification, but energy or emotions are energy, basically. That's really all you need to know. And so the area that is associated with our emotions, remember, it's the heart mind. It's the heart mind, but it's also the psychological programming that our emotions have on us. It's like because we responded in a certain way, or because something happened to us when we were a kid, that's where all the psychological stuff is stored, and that is in our lower dantian, which is in the navel center. I have my hand on the navel center. So our lower dantian is responsible for our psychological stuff. So this is also called the unconscious mind, and this would be the conscious mind, because that's where the mind and the soul is, the heart, mind, and the soul. So so now here's where energy work gets played into this. So we have 3 dantians. We have the soul, we have the middle dantian, which is also the heart, mind, and the soul. We have the upper dantian, which is our higher self, which we get messages from the crown chakra, and it goes down and it goes into the lower self. And so the lower self is the psychological programming. It's our unconscious mind, all the things that we're not aware of. That's down here in the navel center. So yeah, and my dog's going crazy. So anyway, as I was saying, so this is probably going to be a longer video, guys. So we have these 3 energy centers, right? And 2 of them correspond with our emotions and our psychology, right? So what happens is, when we do energy work, so our emotions are energy, right? And most people can't acknowledge their emotions. They don't want to feel them. They will do everything in their power to get away from them. They will drink, they'll smoke, they'll do drugs, they'll do a bunch of unhealthy things, right? Even sex addiction, or gambling addiction, or alcoholism, drug use, all that. So these are all just escape mechanisms for dealing with our emotions, because we don't want to deal with them, so we numb them, right? A lot of people do this. Most people do. And even if you're not numbing them like that, you'll distract yourself with television or the internet or something else, just using entertainment as a distraction as well. That really disconnects you with your emotions. And so the whole point is to integrate our emotions. You know, in order to have a healthy life, we need to integrate our emotions. You know, people will do crazy things to avoid their emotions. They'll do a lot. I mean, my mother, for example, like, if I were to tell her I'm having a certain emotion, she would just look at me weird and just be like, okay, well, you know, like, just totally avoiding that. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting. So basically, what we do is, you know, is we, like, emotions are energy. So basically the point of all the things that I teach, the mantras that I teach, if you go to vincent.thunderwizard.com and get an astrology reading, there's mantras that I teach you. There's a mantra that I teach you based on your chart that will connect you with your soul, and it will connect you with your soul desire, and you know, it will help you to live your dharma, your soul's path, your soul's purpose, your soul's desire, that kind of thing. So, and then also, there's the Qigong that I teach. The Qigong, Kundalini Yoga, and meditations that I teach, those are all powerful ways that are designed to integrate your emotions. They do it in a very subtle way. They, you know, because, so, and also that course is available here too. I also offer some guided shamanic counseling, so go here if you want to check out my life coaching and shamanic counseling and stuff. Yeah, so as I was saying, the emotions are energy. They are meant to be integrated, and they can cause actual physical pain, like fibromyalgia, when our emotions aren't integrated. There's also things like TMS, something called TMS, tension myositis syndrome. It's basically this back doctor. He saw several patients and that were complaining about back issues, and he was like, well, your spine looks fine, you know, that everything is structurally fine. There's absolutely no way that you should be feeling this amount of pain with that, you know, the structure of your spine is fine. So, you know, he basically said that, you know, everything on an anatomical level was completely fine with them, but they had underlying emotional and psychological issues and traumas and things that weren't being dealt with. And so they manifested in a physical illness, a physical inflammation around the spine that basically caused pinching of the nerves around the spine. And so that, you know, this can also be fibromyalgia too. You know, it's you gotta really take care of yourself, you know. You know, and people don't think about treating mind, body, and soul all together. That's what I do. I treat everything together. So if it's a illness, if it's a physical illness, we look at the spiritual cause. We look at emotional things that are at play. We look at, you know, psychological stuff, things that happen in our childhood and even past lives. Yeah, this is part of the shamanic work that I do. So if you're interested, hit up those links, yeah, to get in contact with me. You know, I I mean, even just doing this it'll change your life. Basically, it changed mine for sure. So anyway, yeah. So our emotions are energy, and they can have a physical manifestation. They can manifest in us hurting, or inflammation, all kinds of things. In fact, in another video that I did a while back, I mentioned this basically this study about multiple personality disorders, and there was this one patient who had multiple personalities, and one of her personalities was a diabetic. And so they tested the diabetic's blood pressure, or they tested the one that wasn't diabetic, and then they tested the one that was within like just a few minutes of each other, and there was a dramatic difference between the one with diabetes and the one without. The blood sugar levels, the glucose levels had actually were significantly higher than in the one with diabetes. So our mind can have a massive impact on our physical and mental health. Not only mental health, but our physical health. It's astounding, the power of the mind. And how these things manifest in our physical body. It's not even the power of the mind, it's the power of the emotions and the psychological trauma and issues. So basically what I'm saying is that so let's say you have a physical illness that's responsible for, or that's the result of a mental illness or psychological or emotional illness, or you're just not, and basically the reason for these illnesses, these mental illnesses, is because we're trying to always stuff down our feelings. We're not, we need to learn to love ourselves through our painful emotions, through our, the thoughts of suicide, the just terrible things that we think about. We need to learn how to love ourselves through that, and be okay with our feelings, because, and that can be a whole video in and of itself. But basically, I'm trying to get you guys to realize that feelings are emotions, or feelings feelings are energy, emotions are energy. And so by doing practices like Kundalini yoga, Qigong, meditation, by the way, yoga and Qigong are both forms of meditation. And so when we do this, what we're doing is we're actually working with the energy in our body in order to flow with it. Because when we flow with the energy, basically energy work is just learning how to flow with the energy. And so when we flow with the energy, we're not stopping it, we're not blocking it, we're not inhibiting it in any way. It can flow freely, and this creates a space to do that. And so with the same thing with our emotions. So our emotions are energy, and so when we're doing these exercises, we're allowing the energy to move within our body, and to be naturally moving, and instead of trying to block off and trying to block off and inhibit our emotions, we learn to flow with them. We learn to, become empty, because the result of meditation is a clear mind. That a lot of people think that, oh, in order to meditate, I have to, clear my mind. No, that my mind is always going when I'm doing Qigong. My mind is always going when I'm doing yoga, when I'm doing meditations, even guided meditations and stuff. It's always going. But the result of it is that I find peace through doing the Qigong, even just the waterfall Qigong. That simple movement of bringing the energy up to the third eye and down. That allows me to flow with the energy, and it basically allows me to, it's like, it's so difficult to explain, guys. It's like so simple. It's like the simplest thing ever, doing basic movements, holding the ball. But it's bringing an awareness into my body and into the emotions and into the energy that's moving within our body. And so it's basically causing an awareness, and when we become aware of our emotions are going to come up. So after doing the Qigong and the yoga and stuff, the emotions are going to come up. They are going to come up. They will. So that's something that you should be aware of and prepared for. But at the same time, what happens if they don't? What happens if we just keep all these things bottled up inside of us and don't release them? And it's just, it's going to manifest in another way, because like all your emotions want to do is to be expressed and to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged. That's all they want, to be listened to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged, to be made aware of. That's all your emotions want from you. And when you do that, when you acknowledge how you feel instead of bottling it up, then that's when we learn how to really flow with the energy and to become, more integrated. Because when our emotions aren't stuffed down, when they aren't bottled up, then they just flow. They integrate in a flow with the rest of our body, and so they become integrated. So emotional integration is what I teach is all about. Everything I teach is about emotional integration at its core. So, again, I can't state how powerful these exercises are. I've given you a little bit of a background as to emotions and why we need to become aware of them and integrate them. I think I've gotten a greater awareness of how to explain this, because it was just so hard before. I didn't have the words, the vocabulary, it was just like, I just told people, I was going through this massive transformation where I was integrating my emotions, and I just told people, you just gotta, I can't put it into words, you just gotta feel it, you just gotta experience it, what it's like. And so, for yourself, because somebody telling you about a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset versus you actually being there in the moment, experiencing that, firsthand for yourself in that moment, having the experience of it. That's two totally different things. So if you want to experience what I'm experiencing, and it's profound, it's simple exercises, but it's so profound, then you can join for $45 a month. It's not that difficult. It's over on this side. Go to patreon.com/GebaTheShaman, and you can check that out. You can also get a mantra from me by going to vincent.thunderwizard.com, and I'll give you your Vedic astrology reading, your everything, your all the most important things that I've found within a person's chart. I will give to you. I will do your chart reading in detail. And so you can also just buy the course outright. My self-transformation challenge course, you can buy it outright if you don't want to pay for it monthly. You can do that here at gebotheshaman.gumroad.com. And I'm going to be coming out with mantras and guided meditations, just recordings available for you guys. So I really, this stuff that I learned from my teacher, Thunder Wizard, just really, oh my God, changed my life in such a profound way. When it's because it is difficult. Emotions are can be unbearable. They can be very frightening. They can be very very uncomfortable to deal with. But once you do, my God, there's so much freedom on the other side of that. There's so much freedom, guys, on the other side of your emotions. Just allowing yourself to feel how you feel. That, because what does our inner child want most? It wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. It wants to be acknowledged and loved. And even if it's having a rough day, on the rough days especially, it just wants to be seen, heard, acknowledged, and loved. And so that's what we all want. And so instead of trying to run away from our emotions, or trying to find the love and the acceptance that we want outside of us with other people, with relationships and stuff, we need to find that within us, and and we need to be there to parent ourselves, and to give love and compassion to ourselves. That's the most important thing, is self-love and self-compassion. And not judging ourselves for our feelings, or stuffing them down, or whatever. We just gotta feel them. I know that hasn't been a priority in our society, but really, guys, that's the cause of so many issues, so many illnesses, so many diseases, and all that. It's just, emotional stuff. So let's see, how am I doing on time? All right. So, guys, like I said, I hope I really explained this to you, and did it in a concise and an easy way to understand, because I'm just trying to come up with the words and trying to articulate this most beautiful of energies here. It's incredible. I can't put it into words, no matter what I say or how hard I try. It's just something that needs to be experienced. And so it's like I took a Reiki course the other day, and or actually last weekend, and she was the Reiki teacher was like, I prefer that you come in for a session before class, in order to answer your questions, because a lot of the questions that we might have are answered by experience, actually experiencing the energy for ourselves, instead of just intellectualizing about it, in a way that, makes sense to our mind, but doesn't, like, we have no personal experience with it. So, yeah, if you want to experience this energy, I've made it very affordable. Yeah, I've made it very affordable for you. $45 a month. I think that's a steal. It was $55 a month, but I lowered it down to $45 just because I really want you guys to experience this. I really do. I want people to have the, the first-hand experience of just allowing their emotions to be, and integrating them. I think that's the key word that I came up with, is emotional integration. And that's what Qigong does. That's what Kundalini Yoga does. That's what these meditations do. They align you with your soul, and they integrate your emotions. Balancing the mind and the soul. The soul and the emotions, all that. So, anyway, guys, I think I rambled on enough. Go check out my programs, please, and go ahead and give this a like and subscribe and click that bell notification, if you will. Subscribing really helps, guys, and liking and viewing the videos and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Alright, guys, so I hope you guys have an awesome day, and we will talk to you later. See ya. Peace.